Now, I don't know if you guys are ready to go down this rabbit hole, but here goes nothing. That was a pun. Welcome to 0 Point Consciousness.
Yeah. I'm inspired. I'm inspired.
Hey there guys, how's it going? My name is Sumedh Chatterjee from the Flow Zone Academy, and I'm a flow state coach, which means that I help you feel better and perform better. Now, this video is not like my usual videos. I'm going to be going into something very deep, very scientific and spiritual at the same time. Some might call me crazy for this video. Some might call me, completely off the wall, like some mad scientist. But hey, this is how my mind works, and I need to get this out there in some kind of a forum, and YouTube seems like the right place to do it. A lot of these downloads I've been getting from my spirit guides, as well as, different understandings from different texts, and, I've just been piecing a lot of different things together. I want to properly articulate my thoughts in this video, and I hope you understand. If you don't understand, I can have a conversation with you about this, because man, what I'm about to share with you might just expand your mind, okay? I'm not even exaggerating when I say that, okay? So we've heard of this idea of 0 point consciousness, okay? In the quantum understanding of this is like a vacuum in space, okay? Essentially, if you're looking at it in spirituality, you'll see a lot of practitioners talk about 0 point position, 0 point position. Like, what exactly is the 0 point position, and how can we access it? Well, one, we can access it through stillness. Now, a lot of deep practitioners of spirituality talk about getting into stillness, the idea of nothingness. How does nothing create something? Well, we've heard of E equals mc squared. Energy equals mass times the speed of light square. What is this basically saying? This is about slowing down energy to a huge factor to artificially transform energy into mass. Isn't that what manifestation is? Energy into mass. What's faster than the speed of light? The speed of thought. Right? So 0 point is actually where we manifest from. 0 point is a place that we go to that we can quantum jump from. 0 point is a position where we can extract energy from, or prana, or chi from. This is a place of unlimited energy. You see, the Indian Vedas talk about this idea that nothingness is the ultimate source of knowledge, which means 0 is the ultimate source of knowledge. Also, Indians created the number 0. They discovered it. They created it, right? So really start to understand that my own culture, but also this is affecting the world at large, because this ancient rishi wisdom, whatever you want to call it, right, is affecting the whole world. The yogis had a very deep understanding of the universe, believe it or not, right? To be a yogi means to be in union with all. So we know that the universe is expanding and infinite. Look at the infinity symbol. The little node is that 0 point position. That's where we can go into the duality, okay? But essentially, 0 points is a space of non-duality. You aren't trapped in this 3D world, right? Essentially, you are traveling. You are in 4D, so you can access 5D. That little node is a portal. It's an energetic gateway. I'm going really deep here, guys, okay? So the Vesica Pisces, you notice this, this vacuum in space, okay? The Taurus, some people say. This is a deep understanding, because this symbol of the infinity sign is 8 hertz per second, which is the flow state as well. So I think that the 0 point position is a flow state energetic charge up point. Like we charge up our phone somewhere. Well, we need to meditate in order for our flow state to get better, to access these altered states of mind better, because we need more energy, right? For a rocket to go up to space, we need more energy and more mass. So they're going to try and build bigger and bigger rockets. But if you get a really heavy rocket, you can't put it up into space, because we're prisoners of this gravity planet. So this 0 point is a combination of these two poles. We have to get to the midpoint. We have to get to the sweet spot, the flow state between those two poles, between discipline and surrender, right? Between pressure on and pressure off, between yin and yang, gravity, which is attraction, and dark matter, which is repulsion. Yoni lingam, the Ankh symbol, all of those represent that 0 point consciousness, okay? the mushroom, which looks like a penis vagina as well, right? Which a lot of people try to access that 0 point through psychedelics and things like this. However, the real understanding of the 0 point is that we can simply be in silence, sit down, and tap into this state. Now, flow state is said to be action and awareness merging. Now, if we look at the chakra system, action is the solar plexus, right here. Awareness is the ajna, pineal gland, third eye, right? So action and awareness merging is what? The heart and the throat. So we can speak ourselves into flow state, or express ourselves into flow state, or we can feel ourselves into flow state or presence. We can't think our way into flow state. We can, however, that's an intellectual, deep thinking flow state that is actually getting out of our own ways. And then we're able to download all sorts of weird information into our minds, and it becomes very natural to us, right? So really start to understand how deep this goes. And this yogic science actually relates. I've been trying to find like this merge of metaphysical and physical for a really long time, guys. And so, as I've done, years of inner work, I've started to piece different things together. So bear with me. I'm going to throw a lot of information out at you, so maybe you'll need some time to integrate after this video on what I'm saying. So when we put our hands on our heart, what does that signify? Safety, right? Safety. That we are safe. When we were in our mother's womb, we heard her heartbeat, which kept us safe. When we hear our specific heartbeat, we know we're alive. But also it releases oxytocin, the love and trust hormone. But also it is this coherence that Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about. Mind-heart coherence, right? And so, yes, we are using our minds, but are you feeling into your present moment? Are you feeling into what you can accomplish and your desires? Your desires are in your heart. Recognize that. Whenever you feel this kind of fight or flight pattern kicking in, just put a hand towards your heart, and this will automatically calm you down. And I do this constantly, many different times throughout the day. I'll put my hand towards my heart, and that will just calm me down. And this is a very esoteric belief, right? So bear with me here. If you're kind of scientifically or logical minded, this video won't resonate with you, I'm sure. Or maybe it will, I'm not too sure. But this idea of egregores, right? Egregores are like these thought forms, these entities, you could say thought forms that we've created throughout the quantum, with our own minds. We've thought about them so much that it became an actual thing, right? It became a part of the collective consciousness in a sense. And so those thought forms can actually link onto us, get us into that fight or flight state, essentially. Okay, so when we're actually tapping into the power of our heart, we're actually fighting these egregores, if that makes sense. I know I'm gonna have to keep saying this, but it sounds like I'm making it like a Deepak Chopra type of video here, right? Where I'm like, man, this guy's a little bit nuts, but trust me, bear with me, this has a resolution. You just have to look deeper within this kind of stuff and this kind of information, because only then will we start to merge these two worlds. I actually recently learned that the word WIMPs means weakly interacting massive particles, right? And I always thought the word WIMP was interesting, how it links to, hey, that guy's a WIMP, Well, they're weakly interacting. They're not connected with themselves or with others, and they're these massive particles, right? They have these big egos that are just like clashing into other things. So, I mean, of course, we're talking dark matter, and maybe that's a dark matter joke to call someone a WIMP, but I think it's quite cool because words create our worlds. To actually slow down our energy, E equals MC squared. Okay, we have to get to that zero. This is also the space that they talk about in transcendental meditation or TM practice, to get to the 0 point. And healing happens, epiphanies happen, bliss happens from that space. Sometimes I'll put a hand on my heart and I'm looking at a problem very logically, but then I'll start to notice that if I quiet my mind and go into my heart, I'll find the answer somewhere there. It's like what Byron Katie says, if you have to ask a teacher, a mentor, a guru a question, you just ask yourself and sit in silence and the answer emerges. All right, so this is what I'm saying is, have that practice where the answer emerges. And you're not becoming this truth seeker, you're a truth beer. You're a truth knower. And if you zoom into an atom, if you zoom in, what will you find? You'll find that there's empty space. also known as zero. So 0 point is the truth, is that button, is that dot at the center of our minds, at the center of our universe, the center of our foreheads. And once we can understand this, we can understand how to bend reality. And 1 cubic space of vacuum contains enough energy to power this world for years and years. So if we could take even a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of that energy, it can expand us. It can expand us as people. This is about an evolution of consciousness, is essentially what we're doing when we're tapping into 0 point. And we're dropping our personal identities to actually cause that identity level change, where we can actually go into a different avatar, a different archetype, a different version of ourselves from this 0 points. So what gets us away from 0 point? Well, we've been conditioned a lot of our years. We've been programmed, from predictive programming to television. A lot of different things have programmed us, right? So it's about coming back to that place of power, that nothingness, where then we can take action from that nothingness. You see, this is the action, non-action, wu-wei, whatever you want to call it, right? That's that 0 point. So if you can find a way to tap into that 0 point, there's a lot of practitioners out there. I know Stefanos from IMC has his own version of this, where he's tapping into 0 point, and his program does this. So there's many practitioners out there trying to help you, to promote this well-being technology, because it is a technology. We have to learn this energetic technology, how to tap into this infinite energy potential, where we can even take a little fraction of it and change our lives completely. We understand that even our values, some of those values are ancestral values, all right? They're from the ancestral wounds, and they're from the ideas around many different years of something that's just been passed on to us throughout generations. And sometimes we live these karmic debts, or we live these lives trying to make up for our past, or we're going through this ripple, right? There are lots of ways to burn karma and burn that karmic debt, in a sense, through practice, through action, through actually working on yourself, through the inner work practices. And that's been a big revelation for me too. The Akadua, for example, is a very important chant that actually burns away karma. Kalabhairava chant of the most fearful form of Shiva burns away karma, right? The Saint Germain of violet flame burns away certain karma. Just understanding there's lots of ways and different practices you can do to actually burn away your karma, okay? So don't be like, oh man, I have all this karmic debt, I'm stuck on this prison planet, and you start complaining. No, this is not a complaining consciousness, my friends. This is a cultivation consciousness, a kritajna, right? Krita, meaning cultivation consciousness, which is the Sanskrit word for gratitude, okay? This is about gratitude. This is about love and expansion and harmony and bliss and balance and equilibrium, right? And so when we get to that 0 point, all of these things come into our beingness. And it's very difficult to talk about it. It's more important for you to experience it for yourself. So if you've ever had a flow state experience, or even a very meditative or mystical experience, you understand this space of observation, this space of awareness, where you pause the video game and you're just observing, right? And we know this from scientists who will believe so much in their experiments that it will come true, and they don't believe in their experiments, and they actually come out with falsified data or results or things that go wrong in the experiment. So our power of belief is also very important, and this is where faith, science, and spirituality kind of merge together. Many years after watching this video on YouTube, there will be a science spirituality merge. In the future, I believe there will be more of a combined art form and a scientific way of looking at spirituality. And I think that there will be intuitive psychology and transpersonal psychology, and all these areas that will slowly start to form into very academic fields, and we will start to be able to look at this from both sides of the brain hemispheres. Isn't that what we're looking for that 0 point? We're tapping into both sides of duality, both sides of our brain, right? So we don't have this split mind, this conflict within us of, oh, I don't know what to do, this uncertainty, right? Not deciding, not being able to, really get to what is it that we truly want? Who is it that we really are? What is the thing that we're going for? right, in this world. And the way we do that is, first of all, removing all of the layers, all of the baggage, all of the gunk from within to get to that 0 point. And from that 0 point, a lot of great things can happen. So my program does something similar to this, where we clear up the different chakras and get you to rise up the scale of consciousness. But there's many other practitioners out there doing something very similar. So I urge you to look for those different things. If anything, just have a meditation practice where you sit in stillness and you allow. You just simply allow and surrender and get to that 0 point. Practice, get into the zone, start activating the 0 point consciousness, this potential where you can become the choice point, the cause of your life, and you can choose. You have the power to choose. You have free will now. Okay? This is what I believe the cosmos or God or the universe has planned for us, is for us to get that free will to choose and be in 0 point, which is a source point, a God point, you could say, where we know that we've got it, G-O-D it. So let me explain this to you with the idea of a coin. Now this American $quarter, I travel a lot, so I have coins from different parts of the world. So this is tails, right, and this is heads, right? So take this as duality consciousness. So let's say that we are having a very bad experience in life. Let's say this is tails, okay? Don't take this literally. This is a metaphor. This is an analogy, right? So we're having a negative time in life. Now, how do we get from here to here? Notice that we can't just flip the coin. There is also an edge. This edge, this slight edge of the coin, this is that 0 point, okay? This is neutrality. This is that space which has no emotions, no rationalizations, no conditioning, no programming, nothing. It's just nothing. It's pure nothingness, which is this infinite source of wisdom. So what are we doing? We are flipping a coin, but the coin flip has this 0 point in itself, and you can see this from the side, okay? You see, energy equals mass times the speed of light square. So really start to understand this concept, okay? It goes very, very deep, and I'm only scratching the surface. The last thing I wanted to say is about the Bindu, okay? The Bindu, you've seen you've seen the Hindu Bindu people, right? I'm gonna start rapping now. You see the Bindu or the Bindi, and you see that is actually a dot. It's a point, it's a 0 point, okay? Where things can grow from and expand from, a breaking point in a sense. It is a place where we can access different things. This is a stargate. This is an actual stargate. Now, some people believe that if we block this with a symbol, it can actually stop us from people hypnotizing us. And there's a different beliefs around the Bindu, right? So I'm not gonna go too much into it, but basically, the Bindu is a symbolic representation of 0 point consciousness, okay? That's the best way to say it. So often we're trapped in this separation paradigm of good and bad, right and wrong, right? And that keeps us trapped in this duality consciousness. And we've got to understand that, in this vacuum, in this space where we can actually travel to this vacuum through our own state of consciousness. Certain religions also have ways to describe this state of consciousness. In this vacuum point, there's a force between both, right? There's a domination taking place between both. There's that conflict taking place, which creates that vacuum in the first place, right? It's called the Casimir effect, okay, if you want to look it up. And really start to understand that the universe has no beginning or end, okay? It's everything and nothing at the same time. And this is the paradox of this 0 point, because, hey, we can't stay in 0 point as far as we know, okay? Maybe if you're very enlightened or you've reached Buddha status, maybe. However, at the same time, we have to learn to use it as a technology, as people in this 3D world. We have to use it to free us from the chains of this prisoner planet and get us to experience a more ecstatic and spiritual and flow state-based life, okay? Give this video a thumbs up if you learned something new today. Have an incredible day today. May the flow be with you and stay legendary. Let's get it today. Boom.